I'm 37 and I still don't know what I'm supposed to do. I feel completely useless. I don't know where to go, and I don't even know why I was born at all or what I'm doing in this world. Does this sound familiar? It might not be 37, it could be 40 or 45, and this kind of thing can even start at 27. So it all follows the specific stages of a person's life. People often ask this question during consultations. People whose parents chose their profession for their own reasons. For instance, it could be a dynasty or a lucrative career or a job that will put food on the table, ensuring you'll always have a bit of extra cash. So what exactly happened? Parents are often the ones blocking a person's future, even shaping their very destiny. I often say that a person's future or a child's future is not chosen by karma or anything mysterious like that. Truly, 100% of a person's future depends on the environment they are raised in, whether their parents genuinely understand them, whether they help awaken their best qualities, or if they end up holding them back, forcing them to live according to their own image and likeness. And so, if in the first case, parents understand and start to nurture the person, sensing and identifying their talents, helping them succeed and grow, then in the second case, the person simply begins to fade away. And with each passing year, they fade more and more. Now, it's important to make a choice and really think about whether you're doing your own thing or if you're doing something that, well, as they say, stresses you out, or rather is destroying you, to put it more accurately. Here's one example. A question from a young woman. What's wrong with me? I didn't want to be a doctor, but my parents forced me to back then. As a result, life feels like hell. I react to every emotion, soaking them up like a sponge, even having suicidal thoughts. Yes, this is especially common for those with sensitive birth dates. This girl, this young woman, yes, her date is hypersensitive. She has a specific sign, an old soul. Regarding old souls, we have several videos on our channel, and you can check if you have this sign. It's even broken down into categories. And her nature is such that, yes, she'll have doubts, and she goes on to write about constant second-guessing. Am I doing the right thing? That's what parents should have done from the start, help to clear away those doubts. Based on this girl's birth date, her place is in beauty, that is, creating jewelry. She's a person who creates beauty, like makeup artistry or hairstyling, meaning where a person will feel and see beauty, she's a pure visualist. And she also has, there's a specific combination. In our school of numerology, we have a concept called concords. It's the grouping of numbers into a single chain. Now she has the concord of art. A concord indicates a professional direction. The concord of art is about exclusivity. These are people who sense space very delicately. And when they end up in the wrong environment, for them, it's a hostile environment instantly. And gradually they develop depression, suicidal thoughts, in men alcoholism, and so on. So what is important to understand? Each of us has our own path, our own predispositions, and our own talents. Yes, they're clearly written in the birth date. Even career changes are written in the birth date. Option 1, you can simply feel it. Find your thing and go there. Option 2, if you don't know where to go, you can see a specialist for a consultation. But most importantly, if for some reason you feel like you are stuck, you must admit that no matter how convenient it is, like the job being right by your house, or you're used to the team, or, well, they pay you, there's a benefits package, there's sick leave, it's comfortable. It's vital to realize that even if it's comfortable, it will still lead to ruin. It will still lead to illness. It will still lead to you wanting to return to your path. But with age, it doesn't just get harder. A habit forms. Let it be this way. And with every turn of our life, of the life cycle, our life is mapped out in 9-year periods. We study all this in our numerology school, how to calculate it all, and what talents open up at what age. You will still have the desire to do what you were born to do. You can even tell from the date itself. For example, this girl has mostly 2s, like February and the year 1991. Yes, this is a person who brings beauty, and this is a person who is oriented inward. And the birth date there is also the 23rd. So it's the full set of a hypersensitive person. If, for example, there was a different characteristic here, like the 18th or 27th of February, there would be a different characteristic, not as sensitive. So look, if your birth date is dominated by, say, 8s, not the 8th day of birth, but 8s in the birth date, for example, August. Yes, it could be, say, the 26th, but you can't judge by just one birth number, like you're an 8 or a 9. At every age, a different characteristic comes into play. Its own characteristic. For example, if an 8 dominates, like the year 1988 or even 83 in any case, if you were born in the 1980s, one of the most important things for you to understand is that you're a person of external realization, meaning in the outside world. And it's important not to be afraid to go there. Yes, it's creation, maybe even excessive expression at times, but it's your life. An 8 is also about balance, keeping yourself in balance. But in any case, if you have dominant 8s in your birth date, then you are destined, well, you could say, to be on stage, to always be in the spotlight. And that's what you should build on. The rest we look at through your life cycles, through periods, what else is in your birth date, and then we figure out in what field you can be, let's say, in the spotlight. If 9s and 7s dominate, for example, the 27th and the year 1979. Here we can already say that the combination of 7 and 9 is 7 is a thinker, 9 is a sage. And you can already tell that for this person, it's psychology, numerology, working with people through the intellect. So you can basically say that right away. By the way, could you please write down what you believe are the most dominant characteristics that are present in your birth date? Or, if you prefer, you can also write about what you personally think are the main dominant characteristics in your birth date. And what you do for a living. And whether you're satisfied with what you do. Next, for example, if your characteristics are based more on 5s and 2s, here the concord of art kicks in, and here mostly, yes, indeed, it will be things like interior design, landscaping, floristry, working with plants, tourism, things where you can really fulfill yourself. And also technology, meaning when a person can simply read information. What do we see when a person isn't doing what they were meant to do? They begin to fade away. And the older they get, the more it affects their family and their health. It triggers, like a self-destruction mode. I'm heading towards the wrong goal, and the internal clock starts ticking backwards. A countdown. After all, those same illnesses, they don't just happen for no reason. They don't just come out of nowhere. They have a beginning, clearly. It shows where the start is, just as there is. For example, one can determine a predisposition to any disease, or rather to those diseases that everyone has. In the date, this is also clearly shown, and our school also has a diagnostic system based on the birth date, where all this can be determined. Next. If you have children or grandchildren, what's important? It's important not to make the fatal mistake that many, many parents make. Of course, with the best of intentions. I think it will be better this way. And this education will be better for you. In some cases, higher education is not needed at all at this stage. A person needs to gain experience in society, in a profession, to acquire a skill in the material world, and then they will go on to get 1 or even 2 degrees. But right now, they need to quickly find their bearings and make a decision to gain what's necessary to get a foothold, so to speak. And this decision, this specialty, will push them forward later. And before making a decision to force or, with the best intentions, to gently insist on a certain profession for children or grandchildren, it's still better to talk to the person, 1, to consult with a proper specialist, that's 2, and just generally sit down and think, that's 3. There are moments when parents have already decided and chosen everything, but the child is not predisposed to this profession at all. And in an instant, a life is simply ruined. Next, from early childhood, you need to consider the specifics of the child, their characteristics, their archetype, which we analyze in our school. It's my own proprietary development. Their personality type is also my own proprietary development, where all this can be understood. and build a relationship. And then you won't even have to choose a profession. The child will know where to go. The most important thing is not to interfere. By the way, if you agree that the main thing is not to stop a child from making their own choice, write it in the comments. And in fact, the opportunities now are limitless. There's no need to go running headlong in different directions. What's important, if you have an understanding that you've lost your way somewhere, the main thing is to stop, calm down, and look. Maybe the solution is right in front of you, and you won't need to go anywhere. It's been right there in front of you for several years, ready, but for some reason, you're afraid to make that decision. And in any case, if you have doubts, you should consider the thought that it's vital to take the most important step in your life, to reorganize, to head in the direction you need to go. My parents also chose my profession for me, and I haven't worked a single day in my field of study, not a single day according to my degree. And this also led to very significant problems later on, a lack of experience in the direction that I was destined for. I had to master the most important skill later, rising up from very serious problems, and consequently, this is something that can be avoided. I always say that it's better to learn from the mistakes of others. But a person wants, as always, to learn things the hard way. So, what's most important right now, what I'd really like to wish for you is to take a moment, just pause, look around you, and try to make the right decision. If you can't decide for yourself, if you're feeling unsure, well, come to us, come on over, and together we'll figure it out. Well, for now, give this video a like, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel and our other social networks, to our other resources, and come to our programs. Well, I'll say goodbye to you until our next meeting.